answering your questions and helping you get to know us a little bit better and how we ended up living in an RV, currently in Mexico. I'm Victoria.
And I'm Craig.
And we travel full-time in our fifth wheel across North America.
So a quick backstory on us. So we met when we were in high school at a church youth camp.
In 2008.
And we've been together ever since. We got married when I was 20 and she was 19.
Church is still actually a really important part of our lives, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a bit. As far as our careers go, we have done a number of things throughout the years, including for a little while, Craig and I worked as therapeutic house parents with a bunch of teenagers, living with them, caring for them.
So I grew up working a lot in construction, as well as working as a home inspector for a while. And while I was a home inspector, I think that's when I learned a lot about the building process of residential houses, which is very similar to RVs.
Eventually, I decided I wanted a remote job. Honestly, I always had it in my head that we were going to do some kind of travel thing, but it seemed like this really remote idea of like, I wish it could happen, but I don't really think it ever will, but getting a remote job seemed like a good start. So in 2019, I got hired on with a remote health tech company that I'm still with currently.
In 2020, I started a landscaping company, and I was doing that for a while, and then COVID hit, and with the company growing, it was hard to keep people hired on and find new employees. So we talked about doing a travel style life.
Honestly, it kind of came out of nowhere in February of 2021, and within 2 weeks, we had purchased the RV. You got an escapee onion here. And then immediately started renovating it.
My onion fell apart. I forgot I was doing cubes.
Just chop it all up, like, randomly. So it took us about 6 weeks to renovate. We redid everything in the RV basically, and during that time we were also looking for a truck because we bought the RV before we even ever had a truck to pull it. Had to pay somebody, no onions. I had to pay somebody to tow it from the dealership to where we were going to store it and renovate it. Okay, so the first question. What RV do we have, and why is it always falling apart?
So we have a 2014 Dutchman Denali 330 LRS.
RLS, rear living.
We went with this one so we could have a rear living floor plan. So our living room's on the back wall. We get a lot of natural sunlight in, and that's what we wanted. We also went with a used one because we knew we wanted to remodel and do some stuff to it, and we couldn't justify spending the money for a new one and just tearing it apart.
However, while we love our RV and the layout, we have experienced, as you all know, a lot of problems with it.
In terms of why it breaks so much, I think it's just a mixture between poor workmanship when it was built, and we travel a lot of miles in this.
12,000, over 12,000 in 2021.
That's insane, 12,000 miles. And RVs, a lot of times were built with the idea that people would only use them a couple weeks out a year, and we've used ours a lot more than that.
So some people get lucky and theirs doesn't break that much. It's a luck of a draw with RVs, so take with that what you will. And the next most popular question is, of course, what do we do for a living? So I am the marketing director for that fully remote health tech company that I was talking about, Self Decode. And we budget to live off of my income. I
had a business back in Florida before we started traveling. I sold that, and now I basically just do repairs on the RV every day.
Which is a much bigger job than we initially thought it was going to be. And a popular question amongst family members particularly is, how long do we plan to do this for? What's our answer?
I honestly cannot picture me buying a house and just settling down at any point.
We really ruined ourselves with this nomadic lifestyle. We realized how much we absolutely love it, and I don't think we'll ever be able to live a normal life again.
There's just too many places that we really have loved after visiting, so picking one and just choosing to stay there for however long is not really in the plans right now.
No, so we will probably be doing some form of nomadic life for a long time to come. We have no end date. As far as church on the road, like I mentioned, faith is really important to us. We actually have visited a lot of churches and places that we go, and if we can find a church that seems like it aligns with us where we are, we enjoy visiting them. Otherwise, we will join online to our home church or other churches that we've visited and enjoyed attending.
Next question is, how much does it cost?
So we recently released a video that includes all of our 2021 expenses. We averaged spending a little over $5,000 a month, and that includes all repairs, literally every penny that we spent in 2021. People spend a lot more than us and people spend a lot less than us. It all depends on your lifestyle and how you choose to RV. One way to drop the potato. In terms of campground costs, we averaged $352 last year a month. We boondock a lot, so that means we camp for free with no hookups. But campgrounds can range anywhere from $30 to $75 a night, or you can get monthly rates for as low as like $300 or $400 a month. Honestly, the biggest factor I think in determining how much you spend is how often and how far you travel. I'll link our video that we did on our 2021 expenses as well. So as you know, we've got 2 dogs, and people often want to know, how do they like it?
I think they enjoy the new areas that we get to see, and especially the new smells. They love to go out and smell everything, and a lot of times we'll get to be at places like the beach and they'll get to go swimming and play in the water, where they didn't used to always get to do that when we had our sticks and bricks house.
Oh, and everybody wants to know, why does Leland ride in the crate and Maverick doesn't? It's for his and our safety. He's a border collie. He likes to herd the cars as they go by. Literally will try to jump out of the window to get them.
And the crate is big enough for him. It's big enough for him to do circles literally in the crate. I don't know why, if you see the videos of him with his face pressed against one side, he does that. I don't know.
He has so much room
He
and
does.
chooses to just press his face against.
Or sometimes he'll lay down inside the crate and lay in the smallest little corner he can fit into inside it.
And internet. So like I said, I work remotely full time. How do I do that? Right now, we have 2 major ways we do that. First being Starlink. Here in Mexico, that's our only method of being online, really, is Starlink. Anywhere where there's not trees, it usually works fantastic. And then we've got a modem that we can put data SIM cards in from different cell carriers. Right now we have a Verizon one. We've tried AT&T in the past. You could do it with T-Mobile. We've done that as well. Pretty much any cell phone carrier is going to have some sort of data plan that you could get on with. It just depends on how much data you need to use in a month.
And our phones are also AT&T, so if Verizon and Starlink do not work, most likely we can hotspot one of our phones.
Right. So far, we've only had to leave, I think, 2 places because we couldn't get one of our internet solutions to work for us. And that's in the whole, almost going on 2 years now. So how do we find our spots and plan our routes? In terms of planning our routes, kind of just go wherever we feel like going, wherever we want to explore. We usually do plan to be back in the southeast for the holidays, but we just kind of pick where we want to go. And then I use Campendium and iOverlander are really my 2 favorite apps. Campendium mostly is where we find our boondocking spots, our campgrounds, pretty much everything.
Yeah.
It's our go-to app that we use. We usually stay at least a week to 2 weeks at each location.
Except for recently. We've been moving a lot recently, but typically we like to stay at 1 to 2 weeks.
Yeah, don't use this past month as our example. That's what not to do, because you will burn yourself out. I even felt it lately, moving so fast. It's just like, oh my gosh, is it ever gonna end? But it really gives you a chance to not feel so exhausted if you stay at least a week somewhere. And people want to know, what do we do when we get to, like, what's our activities? What do we do for fun at all these spots we're going to?
We like to go stand up paddleboard and go to the beach. We like to relax also. I would say though our most favorite one we've done recently is, when was it? Last year?
Yeah, we picked it up last summer.
Last summer we picked up rock climbing, and
which is something we would have never ever done because we're from Florida,
Yeah.
had we not started traveling.
Yeah, so rock climbing is probably our favorite right now. I enjoy surfing.
I enjoy sitting on the beach watching them surf.
Yeah, but every now and then we'll get to boondock or stay somewhere where there's an ocean with waves.
We've done a lot of really cool hikes, including all the way down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon and back in one day.
But I've hiked Mount Shasta.
I mean, I didn't do that one, but we've done a lot of other cool ones. Okay, now we just have to assemble our stuffed poblanos peppers into these extremely hot poblano peppers. Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up with our 3 favorite and least favorite things about RV life. You do your first. Let's start with our least favorite, so we can end on a high note.
Least favorite, not having infinite amount of water and water storage.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good one. Mine would be, which I can't believe you didn't say this, that things break a lot, and it's not super fun dealing with that all the time.
I think that's not one of my least favorites because it's the same as a house. Houses
true.
break too. I was fixing stuff on the house and or remodeling stuff, so same situation.
We have always had a project going on. In fact, I think God just knew we would be bored if, we didn't have projects. So this is your fault. You get bored too easily.
Yeah.
Last least favorite, do you have one? Because I have one more.
You can go.
It's a tiny space, and these dogs shed like there's no tomorrow. There's hair everywhere all the time, but also the same as in the house. So,
it just
are you gonna stuff your pepper?
It looks hot. I think with the dog shedding, it just took longer to notice, which meant by the time you noticed was more to clean up.
Do you have any other leaves?
Don't
stuff too much. You gotta put some cheese in there too.
One of my other least favorites would be how dirty the truck stays.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, our favorite. I'm gonna go first with this one. My favorite thing is that we're on this adventure together. We met in 2008. We've been together for just so long now, and we really truly enjoy being together, doing things together, and this is like the ultimate never-ending adventure that we get to do together.
Yeah. One of my favorite, sounds weird, but the traveling. I never really got to go very far outside of Florida until we started doing this, and it's really crazy to see all the different terrains and landscapes and stuff like that.
We've seen things, that was going to be one of mine too, that we've just gotten to see things that we would have never seen or done with, 2 weeks off a year. Like there's places we never would have gotten to go. Yep. And that is really amazing that we've gotten to see and do everything we've gotten to do. Last favorite thing for me is actually boondocking. I just think it's so cool. I think it's cool to live off grid on our solar power, to be able to conserve water and live in the most amazing places with the amazing views for free.
And then the last one I have real quick
bonus
is that
one.
Bonus one is that the people you meet typically while RVing and traveling that have the same lifestyle as you are always extremely nice, it seems. So
I think we've made more friends on the road with no home than when we lived in one place.
Yeah, but also you're always busy, typically with your 8 to 5 when we were living there and everything.
True.
So
now we're gonna put these back in there. Ooh, just a few minutes, and that wraps up our Q&A.
And dinner.
And let us know if you have any other questions. We'll do another one of these in the future. Put them in the comments below. Hit the subscribe button to catch our next video while we're down here in Mexico. And we will see you guys next week.
Bye.